Cassandra Miller, and I'm a PhD student in the biology department at the University of New Mexico. I study how disturbances alter plant microbial interactions and function. We at Sevilleta are particularly interested in understanding how disturbances alter the climate sensitivities of species, communities, and ecosystem processes. The STOMP Biocrust disturbance experiment tests how soil surface disturbances alter biocrust community composition, and over the long term, how this legacy of disturbance impacts the broader community and ecosystem function. This experiment provides insight into the resiliency of dryland biocrust communities and how soil disturbance might affect plant productivity, forage availability, and soil stability and fertility. The STOMP sites were established in 2013, and twice a year, a team comes out to systematically stomp and disturb the biocrusts in the experimental plots at each site. Prior to the stomping, we do vegetation surveys to monitor plant community changes and collect biocrust samples for downstream genomic work. We strategically trample in a line to ensure that we evenly disturb the top 5 centimeters of surface soil in all the non-vegetated soil surfaces. In our control plots, you can see very healthy biocrusts growing in the inner spaces between the plants. But if you go to one of the experimental plots where stomping occurs, there's still a small biocrust layer, but it isn't able to stabilize the soils nearly as well as the undisturbed communities in the control plots. So even with just a disturbance twice a year, we see dramatic effects on the biocrust community and function that it performs. Our experiment has the potential to expand current knowledge on the importance of biocrusts for dryland communities and ecosystem processes. An additional benefit of the long-term experiments housed at Sevilleta LTER is that as time passes, you can continue to ask new questions and add more depth to the study with short-term research projects, like during our annual summer NSF-sponsored REU program.
The REU is the Research Experience for Undergraduates program. My name is Dylan Taylor, an REU student this summer at the Sevilleta, being co-mentored by Cassandra Miller and Vanessa Fernandez. We designed a project to investigate the interaction between a legacy of disturbance and precipitation and its impacts on biological soil crust activity. I'm able to utilize the existing long-term STOMP experiment and come out to the site every day to add my own precipitation manipulation. I established a small subplot in an unused vegetation quadrat to administer my watering regime. Over 5 weeks, each subplot will receive the same 25 millimeters of water, but in varying amounts, from a large 5 millimeter event 1 time a week to a tiny 1 millimeter event 5 times a week, plus ambient controls. At the conclusion of my summer, I will be able to analyze how 1, a legacy of trampling disturbances affects biocrust activity, and 2, how precipitation interacts with disturbance and impacts biocrust activity. As climate change worsens, precipitation is predicted to become more variable and therefore unpredictable. Understanding how these biocrust systems interact with this rainfall gradient will only further help understand how these systems are going to operate under future climate conditions.